Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayana Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayadmudirayet Nashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shlokir Bhaktir Bhavatir Naishtikir. Reading from Bhagavad Gita, chapter 2, verse 66. Nashti buddhir ayuktasya na cha yuktasya bhavana na cha bhavayata santir ashantasya kuta sukham. Nashti buddhir ayuktasya na cha yuktasya bhavana na cha bhavayata santir ashantasya kuta sukham. Na ashti, there cannot be. Buddhir, transcendental intelligence. Ayuktasya, of one who is not connected with Krishna consciousness. Na, not, cha, and. Ayuktasya, of one devoid of Krishna consciousness. Bhavana, fixed mind in happiness. Na, not, cha, and. Abhavayata, of one who is not fixed. Shanti, peace. Ashantasya, of the unpeaceful. Kutha, where is? Sukham, happiness. Translation. One who is not connected with the Supreme in Krishna consciousness can have neither transcendental intelligence nor a steady mind, without which there is no possibility of peace. And how can there be any happiness without peace? Purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Unless one is Krishna conscious, unless one is in Krishna consciousness, there is no possibility of peace. So it is confirmed in the 5th chapter, 5.29, that when one understands that Krishna is the only enjoyer of all good results, of sacrifice and penance, that He is the proprietor of all universal manifestations, and that He is the real friend of all living entities, then only can one have real peace. Therefore, if one is not in Krishna consciousness, there cannot be a final goal for the mind. Disturbance is due to want of an ultimate goal. And when one is certain that Krishna is the enjoyer, proprietor, and friend of everyone and everything, then one can, with a steady mind, bring about peace. Therefore, one who is engaged without a relationship with Krishna is certainly always in distress and is without peace. However much he may make a show of peace and spiritual advancement in life, Krishna consciousness is a self-manifested peaceful condition which can be achieved only in the relationship with Krishna. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamaiham Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Utapadakamalam Shri Gurum Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathamritam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Shri Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhamritam Scha He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dina Bandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya eva cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. Thank you everyone for joining today's Bhagavad Gita discourse and class. I'm very excited to be speaking about this verse. This verse really came at the right moment in my life, and I'm very excited to share what I've heard. My specific respects to Jayapataka Swami Guru Maharaj, and also to Niranjana Swami Maharaj, and also to Vaishashika Prabhu, whose Vani has helped me extremely in preparing for this talk. Thank you all for joining. So in this verse, it is so special, this verse 2.66, because Krishna, he is giving the formula for peace. So this is the peace formula that everyone is seeking throughout all of mankind. The United Nations was made to bring about global peace. So many administrations in the US to bring about national peace. So many administrations throughout the world to bring about family peace. Therapy is to bring peace in one's own life. So here Krishna is giving the formula for peace that everyone is looking for throughout the ages. Everyone is looking for, what is that one thing that we can do to bring about peace, shanti in this world? What is that one thing we can do? And so Krishna, he gives that formula, but he gives it in a little bit of a hidden way. He gives it in the contrary. He gives it so that what is the possibility of peace, by giving the opposite of the thing, so that we must look beyond the exact translation to find the correct formula for peace. So Krishna is saying, how can there be any possibility of peace when ayuktasya, there is a disconnection between what? Between us and the Supreme, between us and the original consciousness, Krishna. Once there is ayuktasya, or that disconnection, then there is unsteady intelligence. And intelligence, it is one of the ingredients of the subtle body, and it can fall into, because it is, it can be under the modes of material nature. So there are 3 modes of material nature. So when intelligence is in the mode of goodness, then it's very benevolent. Then the person is very benevolent. The person uses his intelligence very wisely, uses his intelligence very benevolently. When a person is in the mode of passion, he uses his intelligence in a way that is very selfish, that is very self-centered. When someone is in the mode of passion, it's all about I, me, mine. And for me, that would be probably, my grades, my internship, my GPA, my this, my that, for me. Then for a person in the mode of ignorance, intelligence would be completely gone. That people do not know what is good and what is bad. And usually that is when you've had a really long day, maybe at work or at office, at school, and you just want to lay down and do nothing. That is intelligence in the mode of ignorance. So when our intelligence is unsteady like that, flipping between the modes of goodness, passion, and ignorance, then what is the question of a steady mind? From unsteady intelligence, intelligence over mind. When the intelligence is unsteady, then the mind is also unsteady. When the mind is unsteady, the mind is like a pendulum, favorable, unfavorable. Here I have a picture of one of Newton's balls, Newton's cradles. When you move one of the balls, the other balls will move along symmetrically with it. So it can go favorable, it can be unfavorable, favorable, unfavorable. It's like a pendulum. Our minds are like a pendulum, always flipping between what I like and what I don't like. I like this, I don't like that. So we have an unsteady mind. But when we have an unsteady mind, then there is no question of peace. And when there is no question of peace, Krishna says, Kutastha, where can happiness be when there is no peace? So here, Krishna is indirectly giving us the peace formula. That first, we need to be yuktasya. We need to be connected with Krishna. Then we will get steady intelligence. Then we will have a steady mind. Then we will have peace. Then we will have happiness. So that is the formula for peace that people have been looking for centuries and centuries and centuries, and it is given, it is hidden in this beautiful gem of Bhagavad Gita, chapter 2, verse 66. And Prabhupada gives a very interesting and important point in this purport. He says, disturbance is due to want of an ultimate goal. So that means that when we do not have a clear goal in our mind, and I'm sure all of you also have experienced this once or twice in your lives, when we don't have a clear goal in our day, or even in the span of our day, then we get distracted. Oh, so someone said this, someone said that. Oh, look, our phone has such nice games on it, let's play that. And then we get distracted. And when we get distracted, we become unproductive. And when we become unproductive, there's, of course, a feeling of deep emptiness and deep sadness. Because we are all goal-driven people. We all need some kind of goal in life. And Prabhupada says this in the purport. Disturbance is due to want of an ultimate goal. The mind needs a goal in life. So an example for me would be like summer vacation. Summer vacation of my high school, there was not much to do. My college applications had gone and everything had been done. And for some time, I was just sitting there and I was like, okay, now what do I do? It wasn't like I wanted to do my high school work or my college work, but what is the point if there is no goal, no inherent thing to look forward to? So a goal is necessary, no matter what. So without a goal, without a target, there is no possibility of peace, because our minds, they're like a missile. Our mind is like a missile, and it needs a target. It needs a goal. And if a missile does not have a target, then it can just go wherever it wants. And we've seen in history the very devastating effects of missiles without a target. And so our mind is like a missile. And here we see in the picture Arjuna, and he is throwing his arrow straight at the bird's eye. Our minds are very powerful because they hold the power as soon as we set it on a target. In this example, Arjuna is setting it on the eye of the bird. As soon as he sets that target, immediately that goal has been subtly attained. So it only needs to be, in our gross sense, attained in that way. So we need a target. And for me, when I remember a time when I was so heavily focused on something, because our minds are like a missile, they need to be focused on something. I remember when I had my last final exam for my electrical engineering this semester, I was so focused, just 1 hour and 20 minutes. I was so focused. And I would also like to encourage all of you to remember a time when you are so focused on doing a certain activity, you are fully immersed in it. That zone that we get into when we are fully immersed in an activity, so scientists have done so much research about it. It's called flow by psychologists, when we are totally engrossed in a goal, and it's our most productive, and so many wonderful things happen psychologically and physically when that happens, when we are in that flow state of consciousness. So that shows all of the important benefits and the important need for a goal in life. Without a goal, what is the use? What is the use of any of this? Because as we all know, if we have a goal in mind, if we all have a purpose in mind, then all obstacles on that path can be overcome. When I think about that, the first person that comes to mind when I'm doing this talking with all of you is our dear Simheshwar Prabhuji. Simheshwar Prabhuji was so driven by the purpose of facilitating Bhagavad Gita classes every day of the week, encouraging everyone in the community to speak, to reflect, to have an interactive discussion on the Bhagavad Gita, and to elevate the consciousness of our CNJ temple, of our CNJ yatra, that every day he shows up 7 o'clock, going all the way sometimes to 9 o'clock sometimes during our discussions, every single day of the weekday, work week, and he's always there no matter what. If he's had a bad day in office, no worries. If his boss has been mean or anything, he's always there. So similarly, all our obstacles can be overcome when we have a goal, a purpose in our mind. So I also felt that this verse was especially pertinent to our discussion because, as we know, it was only the new year a few days ago, just 6 days ago, it was New Year's Eve. And during this time, many people make different vows, like, I want to lose weight, I want to eat more healthy, I want to develop my relationship with my children better, I want to get all A's in my grades. So many different goals are made during this time. But for devotees, it's a different kind of time for reflection, a time for resolution, time for promise. Devotees make the meditation that let me let go of all of the bad habits that are keeping me away from Krishna, and let me instead take on those habits that will bring me nearer to them. So we are speaking about goals here. So how important are goals in our spiritual life, in our spiritual sadhana? So many goals are spoken about in our material mundane life, about grades and health and intellectual, financial, artistic, mental, all of these different spheres. But people often forget to remember the center of the whole circle from which it expands, our spiritual life. But devotees, they give emphasis to that. And it is a reminder to us this new year that this life is kamala dalajala, jivana talamala. Just like a water droplet on a lily flower, at any single moment it can be overflooded and immediately it's gone. Similarly, our lives are so fragile, so incredibly unknowable. We will never know when the snap of a finger and everything is finished. Our plans, our work, our activities, our lives, just one snap and it's over. We will never know. But similarly, our minds also are similar to this lotus flower. Our minds are also very unsteady. They sometimes are on this side of happiness, sometimes on that side of unhappiness. And similar to this water droplet on the lotus flower, it can be very unsteady. So, as I was hearing from Jayapataka Swami Guru Maharaj, he was speaking about how we need to fix our minds not on the lily flower of material existence, which can easily, just one burst of the wind, one swing of Maya, and we are off the lily flower. But instead of the lily flower, we should fix ourselves on the lotus feet of Lord Shamasundar. When we fix our consciousness on the lotus feet of Krishna, on our relationship with Krishna, then there is no possibility for any of our horse-like senses to immediately take a stride and just run over. There's no possibility of being susceptible to Maya's snare and then ensnaring our minds. And so this brings us this also leads us to the difference between Krishna conscious goals and material goals. Krishna conscious goals energize us. Material goals, not so much. And I'll give an example of Brahma Rishi Vishwamitra. I'm sure many of you know this story. I'll just reiterate it for a few seconds. So Vishwamitra was actually a Kshatriya. He was a great, illustrious king. But he desired that he would become, after some fights with Vashishta, that he would become a Brahmana, that he would become a Rishi. So he became a Raja Rishi, because he was a very saintly king. But this wasn't enough for Vishwamitra. He wanted to take revenge on Vashishta, who had once defied him. Vashishta was a great, learned Brahma Rishi, a great, learned sage. Vishwamitra wanted to take revenge on Vashishta. And to do that, he needed to gain enough, more power, more Brahmana Tejas, more Tapo Bala than Vashishta. And to do this, Vishwamitra, he went for long, long penances. And then, once he appeased a Lord Brahma, and he became, from a Raja Rishi, he became a Maharishi. But that wasn't enough. Vashishta was a Brahma Rishi. Brahma Rishis had the power to travel all the way to Brahma Loka, have the Brahma Danda, have all kinds of crazy mystical powers. So Vishwamitra had to become a Brahma Rishi. And so Vishwamitra, he engaged himself in long, long tapasya. And Lord Indra, seeing that Lord Indra is one of the heavenly demigods, king of the demigods, he sees that Vishwamitra is doing so much penance, and he thinks, is Vishwamitra trying to take my position? And he sends a heavenly damsel named Menaka to capture the mind of Vishwamitra while he is in deep penance. So Vishwamitra is in a long, long penance. Om Brahmadevaya Namaha. And long, long penance he's doing. And simply at the sound of the ankle bells of Menaka, Vishwamitra's penance is broken. Simply by, we can see one of these horses has an ear on their neck, an ear necklace on their neck. Simply by the sense of sound being captured by Maya, by Menaka, by the illusory energy, by the energy to captivate the living entities. Simply by that sound, that one sense, not any other sense, simply by the sound of the ankle bell, all of his penance was broken. And so again, Vishwamitra learns his lesson. Oh, no more of this. I need to keep on working hard. I need to keep going. And he does more and more and more penance. And finally, he reaches the stage of Brahmarishi. Lord Brahma and Vashishta come and grant him the stage of Brahmarishi. And then Vishwamitra asks Vashishta, so now that I'm a Brahmarishi, this must be all there is, right? And Vashishta says, no, Vishwamitra, this is not all there is. There is Raja Rishi, then there is Maharishi, then there is Brahma Rishi, and finally, even over that, there is Narayana Parayana. There are those people who are close to the hearts of Lord Narayana. Those people who are so close to Lord Narayan's heart, they are even more powerful than the Brahma Rishi. And those people who have the Brahma Danda, who can travel all the way to Brahma Loka, who can do all kinds of mystical jugglery, even more powerful and even more precious, even more rare it is to be Narayana Parayana, to be dear to Krishna and to have Krishna dear in your heart. So that the state of someone who is close to Krishna's heart, and who they hold Krishna close to their heart. So this story, it shows how much energy this tapasya took so many lifetimes upon lifetimes of Vishwamitra to complete. So much tapasya was put into becoming a Brahmarishi for Vishwamitra. But on the opposite hand, Krishna conscious goals. Krishna gives us the energy. When we take one step to Krishna, he takes 10 steps to us. It is not the same thing in material life. When we take one step, maybe we'll get a 0.2 step towards us. Maya Devi will 1.2 step towards us. So it is, Krishna gives us energy when we show him some love. We see that in the beautiful example of our Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada, although his age was so much, although there were so many things fighting against him, still, because he was close to Lord Krishna's heart, and because he took many steps to Krishna, Krishna takes many, many, many more steps towards him. He's developing ISKCON and everything like that. So what is the key to such enthusiasm? That we do not fall into the trap of material goals and instead Krishna conscious goals. What is that key that differentiates those two? It is Krishna, yuktasya. It is that connection, that word over here that Krishna uses. Yuktasya, connection in Krishna consciousness. When we are connected in knowledge to Krishna, that is when there is real benefit, there is real joy in our and enthusiasm in our day-to-day Krishna conscious goals. So what is the definition of yuktasya? What are the values of one who is in that yuktasya consciousness? That we are connected to Krishna. Srila Prabhupada quotes this verse from Bhagavad Gita chapter 5 verse 29 to illustrate the point of someone who is Krishna conscious. One who is Krishna conscious believes in the three things that are mentioned in this verse. Bhoktaram yajna tapasam. Krishna is the enjoyer of all penances and tapasya, all yajnas and all tapas. Sarva loka maheshwaram. He is the proprietor of everything and everyone. I am yours, Krishna. That is the attitude of someone who is Krishna conscious. And suhridam sarvabhutanam. That means that person holds Krishna that knowing that Krishna is the best friend of all living entities. Sarvabhutanam, of all living entities. And not just a bandhu, not just a society friend, not just a sakha, but a suhrit. The word suhrit is a very beautiful word. Hrit is the prefix of hriday, which in Hindi means a heart. So one suhrit means one who is close to the heart. And of course, we all know that we carry Krishna in our hearts as Paramatma. So suhridam sarvabhutanam. That person knows that Krishna is our best friend. He is the one who is most close to the heart of all living entities. Yantva mam santim richati. Knowing these three things, those people who are intelligent, they feel great peace and happiness. And so, it's a very important point is made here that Krishna consciousness, I had this misunderstanding earlier, that Krishna consciousness is about not having ambitions, not having desires for any material advancement, having nothing, just being an austerity-driven minded person, wanting nothing in the world. But this verse shows differently. It shows us that we all need a goal in life. Prabhupada says in the verse, disturbance is due to want of an ultimate goal. Without a goal in mind, there is no catch is that the goal must be yuktasya. The goal must be in connection with Krishna. So, we must develop goals in such a way that they are in direct relationship with the facts that Krishna is the ultimate enjoyer. So, if you are making money in an office, if you're making some money on the side, then you can give some money to temple because Krishna is the ultimate proprietor. When you know that Krishna is the ultimate enjoyer, maybe you can take some money and you can make some beautiful, with some ingredients, you can make some beautiful snacks, some delicacies, and you can offer it to Krishna because he is the ultimate enjoyer. And instead of using that money for yourself, because he is the real friend of all living entities, what do you do with a friend? You give them some gifts. So you can go to temple, you can give Krishna a little flower, a little bit of a gift that you buy from him, maybe a necklace, maybe some pearls, maybe you can give him something like that. So knowing that Krishna is our friend, knowing that Krishna is the ultimate proprietor, and knowing that Krishna is the ultimate enjoyer is the key to having enthusiastic goals in life. So I wanted to end this discussion with something to try to make some goals ourselves in this small amount of time that we have left. So one, I was hearing Vaisheshika Prabhu's lecture, and he was giving some very practical tips on how to make more Krishna conscious goals, how to stay more enthusiastic, how to make goals that will bring us closer to Krishna. And he mentioned this renowned psychology-driven acronym for the goals called SMART goals. SMART goals are specific, they are measurable, they are achievable, they are relevant, and they are time-bound. And of course, we in our schools, I'm sure a lot of high schoolers will know that we do this in our high schools. But I wanted to apply that same thing with Krishna consciousness, because when we have smart Krishna conscious goals, imagine not only is Krishna on our side, not only is our sadhana on our side, but also we have the utility of goal setting by renowned scientists to help us progress more rapidly. So the first S is specific. So you can maybe write this down in your notebook. Think of maybe a goal that you have for 2021. It can be a material goal, but it can also be a spiritual goal. Think of something, how can you come closer to Krishna? How can something bring you closer to Krishna? And for me, I was thinking for 2021, I want to read the 4th canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam. So that is my specific goal, read the 4th canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam. It has to be measurable. And so I will keep track of this goal by keeping track with an audiobook that I have from YouTube. I'll read from that 30 minutes each day, 8:30 to 9. So that is achievable. So I'm a student, so I have to study a lot. But I can spare 30 minutes a day, 8:30 p.m. to 9 p.m. to make this goal achievable. And if I have a lot of homework one day, I can skip one day, but I have to keep going the next day. So that is my achievable part, to make it attainable. So I'm not too sad that I'm not able to do it. The R is relevant, and it's the most important part. It is why you're doing that goal. So why are you doing the goal that you are doing? For me, Srimad Bhagavatam inspires me to love Krishna more. So the stories of his devotees, the story of Krishna, inspire me a lot more to chant better, to do more services. And finally, T, it has to be time-bound. So you need to give priority to that subject matter. So how are you going to make that, by when are you going to make that a reality? So by March 6th, I will have read the 4th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. So this is SMART goals, and Vaisheshika Prabhuji has spoken a lot about this in a lecture. You can find it on YouTube. He speaks about it very nicely, and I'm excited to try to make this work. Let's hope for the best. And finally, of course, this all might seem very overwhelming, and I know when I first heard these classes by Vaisheshika Prabhu, I felt a little overwhelmed. How is it possible? Look at all of these books. How can I possibly read all of this? And then he gives this, and then Vaisheshika Prabhu, he quotes this beautiful saying, drops a day wear the stone away. So just a little drop once a day, a little step once a day, and you will get to your goal. And for me, reading the Srimad Bhagavatam is such an immense topic. But imagine the person who translated the entire Srimad Bhagavatam with full purports, full translation. What was he like? And so when asked by his disciples, Srila Prabhupada, we are having so much trouble reading all of your work that you are coming up with. How are you writing all of this? How are you translating all of this Sanskrit so fast? So much of it. And Srila Prabhupada replied, little by little. So little by little, in the words of Srila Prabhupada, little by little, some small steps we can take every day, consistently, and we can get to our goal. So consistency, with consistency, we can reach any goal. So in the words of Srila Prabhupada, with that little inspiration, I wanted to end this class. If you have any thoughts or reflection on what was spoken, or if I've made any mistakes, please let me know, and I hope to improve for the next time. Hare Krishna.